The Air Force spent years trying to bury the A-10 to fund the $1.7 trillion F-35. But in a secret test last week, the Super A-10 didn't just fly. It did something physics says shouldn't be possible for a 50-year-old jet. It's no longer just a gun with wings, it's a mauled decoy truck. This titanium tank can now launch a swarm of 16 ADM-160 decoys, flooding enemy radar with ghost targets to let stealth jets slip through. The Pentagon isn't keeping the Warthog for nostalgia. They're keeping it because it's the only platform that can carry enough electronic chaos to make 5th-generation stealth work. The A-10 just got a 2026 brain transplant, and the result? A titanium ghost you were never supposed to see. The Air Force wants you to believe the A-10 is a 70s tank, but the truth is hiding under the skin. While the outside still looks like a Warthog, the inside has been gutted and replaced with what analysts call electronic muscle. The core of this resurrection is the $2.1 billion wing replacement program. This isn't just a minor patch-up. It's a total structural rebirth involving 173 aircraft. By installing brand new reinforced wing sets, engineered by Boeing and Korean aerospace industries, the Pentagon has added an incredible 10,000 to 16,000 flight hours to each airframe. This effectively extends the A-10's operational life until 2040, meaning this relic will be hunting targets long after the initial F-22 fleet has retired. While the F-35A costs a staggering $42,000 per flight hour to operate, the A-10 keeps the mission moving for just $22,531, a 46% front cost discount on destruction. But the real shock factor revealed in the June 11th test is the MALD decoy truck configuration. The A-10 is no longer just a ground attacker. It has been transformed into a flying aircraft carrier for electronic ghosts. Using its 11 hardpoints and a massive 16,000-pound ordnance capacity, a single A-10 can now launch a swarm of 16 ADM-160 MALD decoys. At $325,000 per unit, these 300-pound turbojet-powered decoys can fly for 90 minutes, mimicking the radar signature of a B-52 or an F-16. By flooding enemy air defenses with thousands of ghost targets, the A-10 creates a digital smokescreen. While a stealthy F-35 can only carry 8 small diameter bombs in its internal bay to maintain its low profile, the A-10 can carry 16 SDBs on its external racks, doubling the kills per sortie while the enemy is busy shooting at decoys. The A-10 just transitioned from a tank killer to the most cost-effective force multiplier in the 2026 electronic battlefield. The gun is changing. The GAU-8 Avenger is arguably the most famous weapon in human history. A 7-barrel Gatling gun the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, capable of spitting out 3,900 rounds of depleted uranium per minute. For decades, the Warthog was a gun with wings. But in the 2026 Super Hawg configuration, the ammo is finally catching up to the airframe. The Pentagon is moving toward guided 30mm rounds, a technological leap that turns a 2-second burst into a precision sniper attack. While a standard 30mm PGU-13 HEI round costs roughly $136. Traditional strafing runs require hundreds of rounds to guarantee a kill due to dispersion. By integrating laser guidance into the projectile, or using the new A-10C high-resolution integrated cockpit to calculate ballistics with 10 times more accuracy, the front cost per kill is plummeting. A 2-second burst of 70 rounds costs roughly $9,520, but it can now neutralize an entire convoy of light armored vehicles that would otherwise require 3 $115,000 Hellfire missiles. That is a $335,480 saving on a single pass. But the real transformation is the A-10's new life as a flying missile truck. Thanks to the GBU-53B Stormbreaker integration, the A-10 can now carry 16 small diameter bombs on just 4 of its 11 hardpoints. These aren't just bombs, they are tri-mode seekers using millimeter wave radar, imaging infrared, and semi-active laser to hunt moving targets through weather, smoke, and dust from 45 miles away. This creates a terrifying synergy. The A-10 uses its new hybrid laser pods to paint targets for the stealth fleet, while its own cockpit, upgraded with a 15 by 8-inch large area display, allows the pilot to manage 16 different weapon tracks simultaneously. In the 2026 Pacific Theater, this means the A-10 can sit at high altitude, launch a $3 million swarm of mauled decoys to blind the enemy, and then ripple-fire 16 Stormbreakers to wipe out a drone ship swarm before the enemy's radar even stops spinning. It's no longer about flying low and slow to see the fear in their eyes. It's about a 50-year-old airframe delivering kinetic brutality with the precision of a scalpel. The math of destruction. In the world of weaponized math, the most dangerous enemy isn't a surface-to-air missile. It's the Pentagon's own balance sheet. This is the front cost reality that the Air Force doesn't want to talk about. The $1.7 trillion F-35 program is simply too expensive to fight a long-term war of attrition. Let's look at the cold, hard numbers for a 2026 deployment. A single F-35A flight hour costs a staggering $42,000. In contrast, the modernized A-10 operates for roughly $22,500 per hour. That is a 46% discount on destruction. But the real bleeding starts when you look at the cost per kill. In a low-intensity conflict, if an F-35 has to take out a $30,000 armored technical, it typically drops a $250,000 GBU, 12 Paveway 2, or a $115,000 Hellfire missile. Now look at the Warthog. A 2-second burst of 30mm PGU-13 BHEI rounds from the GAU-8 Avenger costs exactly $9,520. The A-10 does the same job for 1/12 the price. The logic of the budget shield is undeniable. If the US flies a standard 100 sortie package against a dispersed threat, the F-35 fleet burns through $1.5 million more per day just in fuel and maintenance than an A-10 squadron. Over a 1-year deployment, that is a $547 million gap. Enough to buy 5 brand new F-35s or fund the entire wing replacement program for a dozen more A-10s. The A-10 isn't just a plane anymore, it's the insurance policy that allows the US to actually afford its high-tech future. Every hour a Warthog spends in the air is an hour the taxpayer isn't being bled dry by the maintenance requirements of 5th-gen stealth coating. The Maritime Hunter Role. The Warthog was built to hunt Soviet tanks in the plains of Europe, but in 2026 it has found a new, even more lethal calling: hunting drone ship swarms in the Pacific. This is the pivot that everyone missed. While the world focuses on the A-10's legendary status as a ground attacker, the Pentagon is quietly training Warthog pilots for maritime strike missions that turn China's Mosquito fleet into scrap metal. The front cost logic of this shift is devastating. China's strategy in the South China Sea involves swarming US carriers with a wall of steel, composed of hundreds of Type 022 Hubei-class missile boats and low-cost, high-speed suicide drone boats. A single Type 022 costs roughly $40 million and carries 8 YJ-83 anti-ship missiles. To stop a swarm of 20 of these boats, a US destroyer would have to deplete its VLS cells using $4.3 million SM-6 missiles, a $172 million economic disaster for just one engagement. Enter the A-10. Armed with the GBU-53B Stormbreaker, a single Warthog can engage and destroy 16 different moving naval targets from over 45 miles away in a single pass. Each Stormbreaker costs roughly $250,000, meaning the A-10 can wipe out an entire missile boat squadron for $4 million, less than the price of one single SM-6 missile. These bombs use a tri-mode seeker, combining millimeter wave radar, imaging infrared, and semi-active laser to track small, fast-moving hulls even in heavy sea spray or electronic jamming. If any boats survive the missile ripple, they face the GAU-8 Avenger. The 30mm rounds, specifically the PGU-14B armor-piercing incendiary, are catastrophic against light aluminum naval hulls. A 2-second burst of 70 rounds costing just $9,520 can literally saw a Hubei boat in half. Because the A-10 can fly at sea level, it stays beneath the radar horizon of larger Type 055 Chinese cruisers until it is already delivering its payload. The plane that was supposed to be retired is now the only platform in the world that can survive a high-intensity drone swarm, deliver 16,000 pounds of ordnance, and do it for a fraction of the cost of a modern destroyer. It was built for the Cold War, but it was reborn for the Taiwan Strait. The Air Force tried to put the Warthog in a home, but this grandpa just did a backflip and loaded a shotgun. In a world of fragile stealth, the A-10 is the titanium sledgehammer that refuses to break. If you're ready to weaponize the math of the 2026 Pacific, smash that subscribe button, drop a like, and comment Warthog below to let me know which legend we should decode next.